I've been avoiding Hollow Knight for quite some time now. Since its release it never really caught my attention, and even though people have been praising it a lot, I personally didn't really care that much. But then, about half a year ago, I got really interested in the game while watching a friend of mine play it. He kept pestering me for a few days to give it a go, and after some time he actually convinced me to try it. So let's get right to it. Welcome to my Hollow Knight adventure. Leave a like, subscribe and comment down below to help my channel grow. At first I had difficulties deciding which controls to use. Should I use the joysticks or the arrow keys on my controller? What's easier to get used to? I didn't know. But I settled pretty quickly on the joystick because that made pogo jumps a lot easier and more intuitive. My first enemy encounter was this little crawlet. He was no match for my profound combat abilities. Further ahead I found this geo deposit. They are scattered around various places on the map and hold a decent amount of geo. Geo is the currency in this game, and later on we will use it to buy all sorts of interesting goods and items. Soon the game taught me how to fill up my soul vessel and use that energy to heal myself up. Higher beings, these wars are for you alone. I'm a higher being? Really? Okay. Collect soul by striking enemies. Once enough soul is collected, hold this button to focus soul and heal. Okay. Okay. This is a Vengefly. I found another one of them in this thorny cave and ran straight into it. Maybe I like pain. I don't know. My reward was another geo deposit. Glorious riches for me. At some point I ran into this blue cocoon thingy and quickly realized that I can gain some sort of shield from those squishy little buggers. I've got armor or something like that. More HP, extra HP. Oh no. These things looked important. Maybe I shouldn't destroy them. I destroyed some local sculptures and fell right down a massive hole. Here I found another geo deposit that I couldn't reach right now. I found my first talisman. What did this do? Fury of Fallen. Equip a charm to activate its powerful abilities. Only at benches though. Okie dokie. Got out of the cave and broke down this giant gate to gain access to the first city and our main hub for the rest of the game. For some reason, I channeled my inner grasshopper, bouncing through the night and enjoying the scenery in the background. Even though I really enjoy the music of this game, my favorite is still the love for detail in the environment as well as the art style in general. Then I talked to this guy named Elderbuck, who told me that the residents of Dirtmouth disappeared after they went into the caves through that well over there. I also figured out that I can rest on those benches and use it to equip my charms. After that I made my way down the well to explore the caves and maybe even find some of those villagers. My very first action was some more stimming for some reason. Maybe there really is a grasshopper inside of me. The adventure started by attacking this Tick-Tick and Wandering Husk to relieve them of their riches. And also because they looked at me in a funny way. That would also be the fate of every living creature in this game that has a health bar. Because apparently I am a maniac. At some point I found this old caterpillar who I couldn't interact with. But from the looks of all those empty houses, he lost his family and my mission is probably to get them back for him. Don't worry mister, I bring your family back to you. Here I found some gruts, and even though they don't seem hostile, they are not safe from my wrath. After some more wandering around we find this guy named Cornifer. He's a cartographer who's selling maps that massively help us exploring and navigating. He can be found at various safe locations throughout the world in every biome. While harvesting this massive booty I found, I accidentally uncovered my very first hidden path. This is also a good time to confess that the footage you see in the background is not really my first playthrough of this section. I accidentally forgot to record the first 3 hours of my gameplay, so I decided to speedrun it again to get some footage for this video. After that I got caught in my first ambush where I needed to defeat a few ass-pit hunters to open the gates. Those worms are called golems, and they are invincible enemies that are going to be a pain in my butt a few more times in the course of the game. I decided to make this part of the video a short speed up montage because I was only running around exploring and not much interesting stuff happened. I defeated a few more Vengeflies and luckily my urge to touch them did not resurface. And even though there were not that many enemies in the Golem caves, I could still make quite some money by destroying all those various geo deposits hidden in plain sight. At some point I found the Grut's mother, and even though I didn't know that she was my first boss encounter, I decided not to fight her. I guess my sense of danger kept me safe there. Here I saved my first caterpillar. It may look pretty easy in this footage, but I failed about 3 times trying to get over there. And for some reason, the sounds of the caterpillar resonated with me and I felt a strong urge to replicate them.
Me mama, me mama, me mama, me mama, me mama, me mama. Ow. Me mama, me mama, me mama, me mama, me mama, me mama.
Truly angelic. Then I encountered a husk guard. At first I thought he might be a boss, but it turns out he was just a big guy with a stick. And even though his moveset is not that difficult, I think he killed me one time. Of course, in this footage I have already defeated him a few times, so I'm not struggling at all. Before tackling the boss, I decided to turn around and find the bench that was located at the Stag Beetle station. I quickly realized that this is a fast travel station and later on it will be one of my most used tools. This guy is named the Last Stag, and as his name implies, he is the last of his kind. Me and him will spend a lot of time together, and once we unlock all of the other stations, we will be able to travel to his birthplace and see what happened to all the other stags. I don't remember which boss I fought first, but here in this footage I decided to go for the Grotzmother, because she is way easier to defeat than the other guy. Her attack strategy was violently crashing into the ceiling and the ground repeatedly to try and squash me. A very easy yet effective strategy against me. I actually don't remember how often or if I died to her at all, but judging by my performance here, she probably got me once. When I first fought her, this was the point where I was afraid that she would come back bigger and more terrifying than ever before. And even though luckily only a few hatchlings came out of her body, they still scared the living hell out of me, because I'm pretty sure I only had 1 heart left. On the floor right below, past this wandering husk and husk hornhead, there was a little hut where I found this guy named Sly. He told me a strange dream has led him here into this old village. Turns out he is a resident of Dirtmouth and our first saved villager. He promised to reward us for our good deed later on up in the village. Then I decided it's time to fight the next boss, the False Knight. I did not know it just yet, but this guy will be the bane of my existence later on in the dream world, once we acquire the Dream Nail. His attack pattern was quite simple yet effective. He could jump on top of me, jump and hit the ground, and he could hit the ground really hard to send a shockwave my way. Once I damage him enough, he will fall to the ground and his head will pop out. That thing right there is called a maggot, and it's the monster controlling the knight's armor. It's also the prime time and target for me to get as much damage in as I possibly can. After that, he will be very pissed and enter enrage mode, where he jumps into the middle of the arena and starts wailing his club around. The quaking causes debris to fall from the ceiling that I need to dodge to avoid damage. After his third rage mode, the ground will collapse. That marks his defeat. All we need to do is drop down ourselves and finish him off. The False Knight is defeated. I'm pretty sure I died 3 times to this guy on my first run. Our reward is a city crest, a key to future areas. While celebrating my victory, I noticed that his weapon starts to move. Apparently he was used as a weapon. Poor little guy. Well, I played a little bit with him as well when I noticed he makes those cute noises. Right after the False Knight, I found this weird looking building. Inside was a shady looking guy called the Snail Shaman. He complimented my wicked looking weapon and offered me a nasty little spell of his own creation as a gift. I couldn't refuse. I wonder why. After receiving the Vengeful Spirit, I fell unconscious and woke up behind prison bars. Turns out he wants me to defeat some kind of monster for him. Not as payment for the gift, but because we are friends apparently. A sly guy indeed. Well, I guess if I want to get out of here I need to do what he says. Poor me. Inside, I found another blue cocoon, gained some shields, killed a few of those roly-poly guys called Balder, and found their big mama called Elder Balder. When I get too close, it rolls up and receives no damage from hits. So the only way to kill it is by shooting vengeful spirits from afar. It also spits little boulders at me, so I can recharge my soul vessel and finish it off. My reward is another talisman called the Soul Catcher. Freedom at last. I will never come back. After opening a secret passage, I found the map guy Conifer missing. His note suggested I might find him in his store in the village, so I decided to pay Dirtmouth a visit. When I went to check on him, I talked to his wife and she said he's never home. So basically he lied to me. I proceeded to buy various trinkets from her, those being a quill that lets me update my map every time I walk into a new area, as well as a bench pin that shows me benches on the map I've already found. For some reason, I decided not to buy the compass charm that would have shown my location on the map. Instead, I went over to Sly, who also sells stuff. And here I bought the Gathering Swarm charm that attracts geodes that are a little further away, as well as a mask shard. Collecting 4 of those shards results in me gaining an extra life. After equipping Gathering Swarm, I proceeded with my expedition, and honestly, I still think not buying the Compass Charm was a stupid move. There was this Elder Boulder I remembered seeing before, blocking the entrance to a new path, so I decided to pay it a visit again. I defeated it swiftly with a few vengeful spirit shots and proceeded to take a dip in the acid water of Green Path for some reason. The first form of life I find here is this guy called a volatile mosskin. Its way of attacking is by generating a giant fart cloud, so stinky. And also he explodes after dying, even stinkier. Another enemy was this cute little bush guy called a moss creep. He is rather harmless because he dies with 2 hits, and also he doesn't really try to harm me either. We also have this one called Mosskin, and even though he is hostile, he is not that much of a threat. I'm very glad I found this bench over here, because the run back to this point would take me around 5 minutes, and I really didn't want that. Oh look, it's Hornet. This was my first time seeing her, and at this point I already knew that I would fight her later on, because I've seen that fight in a few reels. The reason that bench earlier was so important is, from this point onwards it will be a lot easier to die, because of those flying guys called Squid. They are quite the headache actually. After I expand my moveset later on, with a dash and a double jump, fighting them will be a lot easier than it is now. Here we can see those little squids in action. So fierce, so swift, so dangerous. Finding Cornifer in a new biome is always the best feeling. Sometimes it is quite easy to get lost in this game. I mean, just look at this. This area is packed with details and foliage. It really makes you appreciate the hard work the developers put into this. But it also distracts me from paying attention to the layout of the map. At some point I ran into this guy called the Hunter, and at first I thought he might be my next boss, but it turns out he's just an apex predator who tasks me with hunting as many creatures as possible. I'm all for that, even though I will never really try to complete my hunter's journal. Another caterpillar. Don't worry little guy, I'll save you and your whole family. During my expedition I keep running into Hornet. I feel like she is trying to show me the way, or more like I am somewhat following her. These flying balls here are called Obel or Ubel. Luckily their bullets are flying diagonally, so it's quite easy to avoid it and kill them. In this area I also encountered a carnivorous plant called the Floor Eater. And I must say, these guys are very annoying. They hurt me so often because I just can't remember where they are hidden. I just found this clip while editing, and I don't remember doing it, but it's so hilarious. I can't hide it from you. You need to hear this. Roar, roar, roar. I think I was trying to replicate the sounds of the hunter, if I had to guess. Insane. Anyways, let's continue. Over here I get jump scared by this moss charger, and that causes me to blast him with everything I have. I call that overkill. You can also just pogo them. Works just as fine, it's only a little slower. At this point not a lot of interesting stuff is happening, so it's back to a sped up montage. I keep opening blocked passages, find new kind of strong enemies called Moss Knights right here, and save caterpillars until I find this guy. Zotte is being eaten by a Vengefly King, and here you have 2 options. You either save him by killing the Vengefly King, or you just don't do anything and keep going. Luckily, the Vengefly King is not that hard of an enemy, so just 1 hit and 3 shots of the Vengeful Spirit are enough to defeat him. If you decide not to do anything and come back later on, you will find Zotte's cracked skull on the floor. You can play with it, but that's it for him, he died. You can no longer follow his questline. By following his questline though, you will unlock a boss fight featuring him as the boss. Honestly, when I first met him, I didn't like him. He was ungrateful, stuck up, and for some reason on a very high horse. So after that, I never really talked to him. I just skipped all his dialogues and randomly found him on the map, saved him, and then just went my ways. I don't like this guy. After following a sign that led me to a stag beetle station, I saved at the bench. Forgot to unlock the station and continued. Found Hornet, and for some reason she attacked me, so it's on. I dodged her attacks, hit her swiftly but precisely where it hurt, waited for my timing and defeated her easily. Actually, she whipped my butt. I died 3 times to her, and in my original run I think she killed me around 9 to 10 times. Nonetheless, I stand victorious, receive the dash ability called Mothwing Cloak, and get haunted by ghosts of the past. They warn me to leave this place and not to wake them. Luckily, I do not speak ectoplasm, so I do not understand them. I continue my way to the Lake of On, ambush the Moss Knight who is minding his own business, enter this building, talk to Quirrell who seems like a cool guy, and rest on the bench. This concludes my adventure for this video. If you have watched this far, first of all, big thank you. I really hope you enjoyed the video. This is actually the very first YouTube video I've ever edited, and let me tell you, it was a struggle. It took way longer than I anticipated. I mean, I knew it takes a while to edit something, but this thing took me like 20 hours. I don't understand how some people can pump out videos on a daily basis, but enough ranting. If you have any suggestions how I can make the videos better in any way, be it music, editing, maybe you need more jokes, I don't care. Tell me in the comments. And if you know how to speed up the editing process, let me know, because this takes ages. I'm trying very hard to be entertaining and I just need every help I can get. Type in the comments section, "It's Wednesday, my dudes," so I know that you've stuck around for this long and I can thank you. Have a great day. I love you. Mwah.